Great. Good morning and welcome to the 9 a.m. April 14th hearing for the Committee on Energy and Environmental Protection. Today we're going to be hearing Senate concurrent resolutions. And up first is, I'll introduce us who's here. My name is Lisa Martin, the Vice Chair. We have Chair Lowen, Representative Matayoshi, and Representative Pruso present in the room. First up, we have SCR 48, which is requesting the Public Utilities Commission in consultation with the Division of Consumer Advocacy to consider efforts to mitigate high energy burdens for low and moderate income customers and to investigate how to integrate considerations of energy equity and justice across its work. And first up to testify, we have the Hawaii State Energy Office in support.
Good morning, Vice Chair Martin and Chair Lowe and members of the committee. We stand on our testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have the Division of Consumer Advocacy also in support.
Aloha, Vice Chair Martin, Chair Lowen, members of the committee, Dean Nishino with the Division of Consumer Advocacy. We stand on our written testimony in support of this measure, and if you have any questions, I am available. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Next up, we have Hawaii Public Utilities Commission in support.
Good morning, Vice Chair, Chair, and members of the committee. The Commission will stand on its testimony in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. And we had additionally when Climate Protectors Hawaii with written testimony in support. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on SCR 48? Hearing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next measure, SCR 90, urging Marine Corps Base Hawaii to upgrade the capacity of its sewage treatment plant and redundancy of components to ensure that final effluent quality is in compliance with state permitting requirements. And for this measure, we have Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition, Friends of Hanauma Bay, and one individual in support. Nobody in person to ask questions of. So we'll move on to our next measure. SCR 140, urging the state sustainability coordinator to work with the state and county film offices to develop protocols to ensure that film and television productions in Hawaii are utilizing sustainable practices. And we have some in-person testifiers, so we'll start with them. First up, Marisha from SAG AFRA. Yeah, just come on up here. Yeah, you can.
Good morning. My name is Marisha Palma Elmore. I'm the Executive Director for the Hawaii Local of Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. We stand on our written testimony and support, and I've also brought some members and elected leaders to chat more, so I'll let the actors do the talking. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next up, we have Ian Cusick from Simon.
Good morning. I'm Ian Cusick. I'm the SAG National Board Member. I stand on my written testimony. I'm available for questions. I'd just like to say that 16 years ago, I came to Hawaii to work on a TV show called Lost. There was an actress called Evangeline Lilly who talked about, let's stop using these plastic water bottles and start using these. And we had them and they had Lost on it, and it was a very good idea. And that went well for maybe a few months. And then cut to 16 years later, the last show that I worked on here in October of 21, back to littered with plastic water bottles, plastic utensils everywhere. And it's just time to stop paying lip service and really push for something to happen. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but please come up and testify and introduce yourself.
Good morning, I'm Charles Uehara. I'm the Vice President of SAG AFTRA. We're the Actors Union. We have 1,300 members strong here in Honolulu. And I stand in supporting this bill, and I've submitted written testimony. I stand on a testimony, so thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to testify in person? No? Okay, seeing none, On Zoom, we have Georgia Skinner from Creative Industries.
Aloha, Vice Chair, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Danielle Bass, State Sustainability Coordinator, testifying on behalf of DBED this morning. Just wanted to submit our testimony as DBED and stand on this testimony in support. Thank you so much. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Danielle, will you be offering any separate testimony for Office of Planning Sustainable Development?
Yes, same testimony in support, stand on our testimony in support from Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. We do have some budgetary concerns, so we would like the legislature's support of the state budget for the state sustainability branch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else on Zoom who would wish to testify? Hearing none, we also have testimony in support from Pride at Work Hawaii. A few additional SAG-AFTRA members, the Hawaii State AFL-CIO, Hawaii Nurses Association, Musicians Association of Hawaii, Kia Enterprises, and 3 individuals. Members, do you have any questions? If not, we'll move on to our next SCR 242, requesting the Public Utilities Commission, in collaboration with the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs Division of Consumer Advocacy, to convene a working group to create a Hawaii low-income home energy assistance program to assist low-income households with paying for their home energy. And first up, we have the Hawaii Energy Office.
Aloha, Vice Chair Martin. We stand on our testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Division of Consumer Advocacy in support also.
Yes, aloha again, Vice Chair, Chair, members of the committee. We also stand in support. If you have any questions, I am available. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have with comments, the Hawaii Public Utilities Commission.
Aloha, Vice Chair. The Commission will stand on its testimony with comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Hawaiian Electric in support.
Good morning.
Are they here? Joanna, are you with us? Or someone from Hawaiian Electric? We have one other individual who's submitted written testimony in support.
Yeah, can you send them a direct message?
And we're just holding on for a second to see if Hawaiian Electric can connect.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I apologize. I guess the mic work.
Okay, that's all right. We have your written testimony in support and appreciate that. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move on to SCR 57, requesting the governor to endorse the New Plastics Economy Global Commitment and the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development to set targets to fulfill the New Plastics Economy Global Commitment. And first up, we have with comments, the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Aloha, good morning, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Again, Danielle Bass, State Sustainability Coordinator from the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. We would like to stand on our testimony, offering comments, supporting the intent of this measure, just noting again the budgetary concern and requesting staffing from the state legislature for the statewide sustainability branch. Appreciate the opportunity to testify. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. And we have additional testimony in support from Climate Protectors Hawaii and Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition, as well as one individual in support and one individual in opposition. Members, are there any questions for the testifiers? Seeing none, we will move on to our next measure, SCR 94, requesting the Hawaii State Energy Office to engage the United States Department of Energy to establish a permanent presence within the state of Hawaii. And first up to testify, oh wait, are you Len?
No.
Okay, okay. First up, we have Gwen Yamamoto from the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority.
Good morning, Vice Chair and members of the committee. The Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority stands on its written testimony and support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have DBED also in support.
Aloha, Vice Chair. This is Scott Glenn, Chief Energy Officer, testifying on behalf of Mike McCartney, the DBED Director who couldn't make it. He submitted testimony in support and stands on that testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And while you're up, would you like to speak for the State Energy Office, please?
Sure. Thank you very much, Vice Chair. We, of course, support this and are thankful that you all are hearing the companion to HCR 46, which the committee voted out favorably on March 24th. And we ask for your continued favorable consideration of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Dean Nishina, Division of Consumer Advocacy.
Aloha again. We stand on our written testimony in support of this resolution. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. And Hawaii Public Utilities Commission also in support.
Aloha, the PUC will stand on its written testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hawaiian Electric in support.
Good morning, Vice Chair Martin, Chair Lowe, and members of the committee. Hawaiian Electric stands on its written testimony in support. Available for questions if any. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have Len Higashi from HTDC. Okay, that's you. Okay.
Hello, Vice Chair Martin, Chair Lowen. I'm David Molinaro. I'm the Director of HCAT, the Hawaii Center for Advanced Transportation Technologies. I'm here representing Len Higashi and HTDC. We stand on the testimony as presented. I'll be available for any questions you might have.
Thank you for coming to talk to us in person.
Thank you.
And next we have on Zoom, Hawaii Gas, Julie Yunker.
Hi, good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Julie Yunker with Hawaii Gas. We stand on our written testimony and support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We additionally had written testimony and support from University of Hawaii and from NELHA. Members, are there any questions of our testifiers? Seeing none, we will move on to our next measure. SCR 103, requesting the Hawaii State Energy Office to convene a working group to examine issues and barriers to the installation of electric vehicle charging systems in multi-unit dwellings, and to make recommendations regarding changes to statutes, rules, and other guidance to help clarify and facilitate the installation of electric vehicle charging systems in multi-unit dwellings. And first up, we have with comments, Dean Nishina from the Division of Consumer Advocacy.
Again, we stand on our written testimony offering comments, but I am available for questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And Scott Glenn from Hawaii State Energy Office in support.
Aloha, Vice Chair. We submitted testimony in support. And I'd just like to highlight in our testimony, we appreciate the House including in the HB 1600 HD1 version of the budget, funding for a general fund position on transportation, clean transportation that could support this working group. We're still waiting on the results of the worksheets from the Senate version of the budget. So it's unclear to us whether we will have a position or not, but we would just ask the House to please keep this in mind as you move to conference committee for the budget so that we would be able to support a working group like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Noted. And we have next with comments, Hawaii Public Utilities Commission.
Aloha, Vice Chair. The PUC will stand on its written testimony with comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have in support the Department of Transportation.
Vice Chair Martin, Chair Lowen, and members of the committee, the DOT would like to stand on our written testimony in support of the resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have Hawaiian Electric.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and members of the committee. June Chi on behalf of Hawaiian Electric. We submitted written testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally on Zoom, Tesla in support. Sandy? Okay, she is not here. All right, in addition, is there anyone else who would like to testify in person or on Zoom? First of all, Seeing none, we had additional written testimony and support from Climate Protectors Hawaii, Alliance for Automotive Innovation, Ulupono Initiative, and one individual. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move on to our next resolution. SCR 106, requesting the governor to optimize the use of federal funds for climate resilience and equity and to convene a task force to coordinate the use of federal funds. And we have nobody signed up on Zoom or in person, but we had Climate Protectors Hawaii, Sierra Club, and one individual all in support. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on this measure? Seeing none, we will move on. The next one is SCR 107, urging the state and each county to adopt the Global Pact for the Environment to achieve the United Nations Paris Agreement and the 2030 Development Agenda, and to specifically adopt the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals number 13 through 17. And we have first DLNR in support. Is David Smith?
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. This is Leah Laramie on behalf of David Smith, the DLNR. We stand on our written testimony and support. Mahalo.
Okay. And we had Joshua Cooper signed up in person, but I do not believe he is present. So we had additional written testimony in support from Climate Protectors Hawaii, 350 Hawaii, Hawaii Institute for Human Rights, and one individual. Members, are there any questions for the testifier? No. Seeing none, we will move on to SCR 146, requesting the Director of Transportation to convene a task force on green transportation and public infrastructure. And first up, we have with comments, the Department of Transportation.
Yes, Vice Chair Martin, Chair Lowen, members of the committee, the DOT would like to stand on our written testimony, providing comments on the resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We additionally had written testimony in support from Climate Protectors Hawaii and Trees for Honolulu's Future. Members, are there any questions for the testifier?
Yes.
Go ahead, Representative Matsushi.
For Department of Transportation, I read your testimony and it looks like you folks are already doing a bunch of this. I'm wondering what kind of resources and just staff commitment would you need to do this task force?
I'll have to defer to Dre Khalili. Is Dre on the line? I'm sorry, Representative, I don't have my staff support here apparently. I'll have to get back to you on what we would need as far as staff resources if we were.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. And as just as a follow-up, it seems from your testimony that you're saying a task force isn't necessary because DOT has already kind of gone through this process. You're already kind of moving in this direction. Do you think that anything new or beneficial would come out of this task force, or do you think it would just be a waste of resources that could be spent furthering the green goals of DOT?
Yes, sir. We believe that is the case.
Okay,
that it's not necessary. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Next, we have SCR. Oh, so any further questions? No? Seeing none, we're going to move on to SCR 233, encouraging the City and County of Honolulu to expand and improve services at the Waianae Convenience Center. And we had one individual testifying in writing in support. Next, we have SCR 108, affirming Hawaii's ongoing commitment to the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and endorsement of the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty. And for this one, we have in support the Hawaii State Energy Office.
Aloha, Vice Chair. We submitted testimony in support for this, and I just wanted to note in our testimony, we looked at the various steps that would go along with endorsing the Non-Proliferation Treaty and highlighted the steps that we believe are already being undertaken in Hawaii versus the ones that we think are yet to occur. And the ones that we identified as having not been undertaken yet, we think are not insurmountable steps that would be also in line with the things we have already taken and the goals we have already set for the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have, is Tyler Levine with us on Zoom?
Yes,
we
I am
have-
present.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Tyler.
Aloha and good morning, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in strong support of this resolution. My name is Tyler Levine, and I am a 17-year-old homeschool student living on the island of Oahu. So kind of interwoven throughout the tapestry of my life, I have really witnessed warming temperatures, rising sea levels, and the increased frequency of droughts, floods, and fires. I have quite honestly seen beaches disappear beneath my feet, one wave at a time. I've watched forests of colorful coral turn white almost overnight, and I have seen governments rise and fall, promising a future for us all while enabling and encouraging the growth of one industry that may steal it, which is fossil fuels. So, you know, they say climate change is a code red for humanity. This means it's time to put people and the planet before pay, yet business as usual continues. So I would like to state that in order to rewrite the history of our fading future, radical action is required. And, you know, this can be taken through the international cooperation of this fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. And I believe that this begins right here in this room. So, you know, through this resolution, Hawaii can really continue to be a leader in the climate movement, showing the world a pathway towards a future of clean energy and a safe climate below 1.5 degrees. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify. And I am available for any questions. Sorry about the background noise.
Thank you, Tyler. Very well said. In addition, I think that's all we have to testify orally, but in addition, we had support from Climate Protectors Hawaii, 350 Hawaii, Hawaii Institute for Human Rights, and 4 other individuals. Members, are there any questions of our testifiers? Seeing none, we will move on to SCR 243, engaging, endorsing, accepting, and adopting the New York Declaration on Forests to achieve the United Nations Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, specifically Sustainable Development Goal 15, Life on Land. And we have in support DLNR on Zoom.
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee, Leah Laramie with DLNR. We stand on our written testimony in support. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next, that's it for anybody on Zoom. Is anyone else wishing to testify? Seeing none, we had additional written testimony in support from Climate Protectors Hawaii and Hawaii Institute for Human Rights. Members, are there any questions? Okay, go ahead.
And this is a question for DLNR. So, hi, morning. In your testimony, you mentioned that you folks are working on the 30 by 30 watershed initiative. And I was wondering, is there any reporting available on the progress with respect to that initiative?
Yeah, we do report in our legislative updates, but I can tell you right now, we're at 17.4% of the 30% goal.
Okay, and then a follow-up question, are you including the military lands that are in forest as part of that?
Yeah, so it's the priority watershed is across both state and private lands as well as federal lands as well.
And federal lands, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions? Go ahead.
For DLNR, in your testimony, you state that you're in support, but that you need additional resources in order to actually effectuate this. What kind of resources are we talking about?
Funding, you know, it's very expensive.
I mean, not what kind, but how much funding, I guess, are we talking about here?
I don't have a number. I can definitely get that to you, like of a total number
Yeah,
that we
even a
would need.
ballpark number? I mean, are we talking about millions or tens of
Yeah,
millions? Or?
I would say hundreds of millions if we want to get to that. It's very expensive to do watershed protection because we have to build fences here because of the the hoofed animals that decimate our forests.
Okay, thank you.
Now I have a follow-up question.
Okay, go ahead.
So do you envision, I'm sure that you're familiar with SB 775, which takes some of the TAT funds or would take some of the TAT and reallocate it towards some of these efforts. So do you envision that kind of funding being used for these efforts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of it would go towards that. We have a wide breadth of responsibilities at DLNR, but absolutely some of it would go towards watershed protection.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions? No. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to SCR 244, engaging, endorsing, accepting, and adopting the Aarhus Convention to achieve the United Nations Paris Agreement 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we have Climate Protectors Hawaii and Hawaii Institute for Human Rights in support in writing, and nobody to ask questions of. So with that, is there anyone else wishing to testify on this one? Seeing none, we will recess for this session. All right, we are,
Never mind, never mind.
okay, we are reconvening the 9 a.m. Committee on Energy and Environmental Protection, April 14th hearing. And first up, we are going to vote as a group on, we're going to group resolutions that will be, that I recommend passing out as is, unamended. And they are SCR 48, 140, 242, 57, 94, 106, 107, and 233. Chair, for the vote, please.
All right, so we're taking the vote all together on SCR 48, 140, 242, 57, 94, 106, 107, and 233. Chair's recommendation is to pass as is. Let's do one roll call vote. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Rep Hashem. Aye. Rep Matayoshi. Aye. Rep Caruso. Aye. Rep Todd is excused. Rep Tokioka excused. Rep Matsumoto. Aye. All these measures are adopted.
Thank you. Next, we're going to look at SCR 90, which I recommend amending in, first of all, noting that the Marine Corps base sewage is 10% of the total effluent, that the facility was constructed in 1947 and does not include system redundancy to support maintenance activities, and that the Marine Corps base Hawaii is the largest water consumer on the windward side. We'll delete the reference to Marine Corps' possible expansion plans and add a be it resolved for all DoD services in Hawaii to migrate from R2 to R1 treatment standards to increase water reuse. Vice Chair for the vote, please.
All right, voting on SCR 90, recommendation to pass with amendments, noting the excused absences of Reps Todd and Tokioka. Is anyone else voting ayes or with noes or reservations? It's not, recommendation adopted.
All right, next is SCR 103 and recommending that we pass with amendments. On page 4, we'll clarify that the member of the working group from Hawaii State Energy Office will be the convener and chair the group, and that a member of the AOAO board will be appointed by the Chief Energy Officer, and we'll also change the number of the board members from 2 to 1. For the AOAO, add KIUC to the, what's WG? Working group members. Change from 2 to 1 the number of representatives from the electric vehicle industry and clarify that this member will be appointed by the Speaker of the House. Change from specifying Blue Planet and Hawaii Electric Vehicle Association to 1 member from a nonprofit organization that works on electric vehicle policy to be appointed by the Senate President. Add a be it resolved to allow the Chief Energy Officer to designate another member to chair the working group if mutually agreed upon, and add a be it resolved clause to require a report to the legislature prior to 2023 session. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, please.
All right, voting on SCR 103 SD1, recommendation to pass with amendments, noting Reps Todd and Tokioka excused. Any noes or reservations? Recommendation adopted.
Next, looking at SCR 146 SD1, requesting the Director of Transportation to convene a workforce. This one, I recommend amending just for technical amendments needing to for clarity, consistency, and style. Are there any comments?
Yes.
Go ahead, Representative Matsuyoshi.
While I can appreciate this resolution, I mean, DOT is certainly not fully funded, and there's a lot of work that they need to do. They already do seem to have a plan in place to mitigate the effects of climate change. I mean, we've got highways washing away on the windward side that I think really need the attention right now. And spending money and time for DOT to do this working group when they have a plan in place seems like a bit of a waste to me. So again, if they had unlimited resources, I would be happy to have them do this task force. But right now, I think they've got their priorities to mitigate the effects of climate change, and all their resources need to go to that and just fixing our roads in general. So I'll be going with reservations.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, please take the vote, Chair.
All right, voting on SCR 146, SD1, recommendation to pass with amendments, noting Reps Todd and Tokioka excused and reservations from Rep Matayoshi. Any other no's or reservations? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
All right, next we have SCR 108, SD1, affirming Hawaii's commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement. And I recommend making amendments only for technical clarity, consistency, and style. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, Chair, please take the vote.
Okay, voting on SCR 108. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, noting Reps Todd and Tokioka excused. Are there any no's or reservations? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next is SCR 243, adopting the New York Declaration on Forest. And I recommend just technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, Chair, please take the
Voting
vote.
on SCR 243, recommendation to pass with amendments, Reps Todd and Tokioka excused. Any no's or reservations? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next, we have SCR 244, which is adopting the Aarhus Convention. And I recommend passing just technical amendments for clarity, consistency, and style. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Chair, please take the vote, and noting the presence of Representative Tokioka, please take the vote.
Voting on SCR 244, recommendation to pass with amendments, noting Rep Todd excused. Are there any no's or reservations? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Thank you very much. And with that, we are finished with our.